Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Brave Traveler. I'm your host, IR, and it's been a while. I've been absent. It's been a couple of things been going down, I guess. But that's life, right? It doesn't stop. It just keeps going, problem after problem. So what, right? You got your ups, you got your downs, and all around, it's fine. I've missed the show. Of course, the show has missed me because, duh. What have I been up to? I think my biggest distraction has been, being in a relationship that I don't really feel I want to be in. I feel more like fuck, man, I don't even want to talk about it, to be honest. It's that shitty. And it's not that the person's shitty or anything, even though they are. Oh, and I'm sick. If you didn't catch that, I'm sick. When did it happen? About a week ago. Like the weekend before Christmas, which was last weekend. I don't know. I fucked up. During flu season. I apologize for admitting this, but I'm trying to be candid without being overly, what's the word? Whatever. I had sex. And that's usually what happens when I have my girlfriend over. Why? Well, because I'm a fucking animal, I guess. It's... How do I say this? Sex feels great. Duh, right? I don't think that people should be having that much sex, though. I think maybe sex... Maybe it should be more sacred, you know? I think that when I think back on my past relationships when I was younger, and I would have sex multiple times a day with my partners at the time, it kind of devalued the act. Like, I don't think it's supposed to be used as a as a sleeping aid, okay? Which, by the way, some people that don't have girlfriends, they probably use masturbation for that. And again, I don't think that it should be used that way. I think that that you need to hold on to that stuff, you know. I don't think it's just protein, it's also plasma. Oh, that noise in the background is my heater. Don't mind that. It'll just turn on every once in a while because, as you know, we're in the cold season. It's wintertime. I think it's been winter since, what was it, the 20th or the 21st? I can't remember. But it's one of those. Anyways. Cold is nice. Heat is not nice. And yet, some of us get really fucking sick when it's cold. I hate saying that because I used to be one of those people that never got sick. I was fine all year through. Now I'm the opposite. Now I get sick at the turn of a hat. I mean, fuck. I apologize. Oh, boy. And I look at what the differences were between me then and now, and it's really just a matter of I was single and now I'm not. Tiny little difference can make all the difference. Yep. Now, I'm not saying that all relationships are shit, just mine. I think that if you're with the right person, you just amplify. And when you're with the incorrect person, you divide, you decrease, you take away. Somebody is just sort of vampire sucking the energy out of the other person. And you always know which is which in the relationship, because one of you will want the relationship to continue while the other one will want it to end. I'm the one that wants it to end in this one. And I've been the other person as well, so I don't want to appear to be so full of myself. No, but I think it's great. It's great that I've experienced both sides. Oh my god, I just heard a fucking pigeon. I hate pigeons. I hate them so much. Freaking bags of parasites. For all I know, they're partially to blame for me being sick as well. I have no idea. Okay. So, I thought about making a podcast show on Christmas, but I felt too sick. My voice was just shit. It was shot. I couldn't get out a sentence without sniffing like crazy. Even now, I'm still recovering. But I was under so much medication that that really pisses me off. Oh man, I should have just taken the fucking injections again. I guess that's what I'll do next time. It just pisses me off like crazy, man. Anyways, one of the main things that really bothers me about being sick and all the meds is how shitty I tend to be. I tend to be overly sensitive, overly grumpy. And that's how I was. I mean, I was... it doesn't bother me so much to be shitty to my parents. I mean, it bothers me, you know. But it bothers me way, way more if I'm even a little shitty to my daughter. And I was teaching her math, and my daughter is so incredible at so many things. I'm constantly proud, just incredibly proud of my daughter for being the most amazing 8-year-old ever. And then where she doesn't flourish is math. So for a very long time, I taught her math regularly until we got to division. And I kept noticing that I was losing my cool trying to teach her division. And every once in a while, I would come up with a strategy, maybe a different method, a new angle to attack the problem. And it would work, and it was wonderful. But it became, you know, the most hated subject for us to cover together. And I feel that the lack of coverage has affected her. I mean, I apologize and I tell her that I'm under a lot of stress, and being sick with nobody to help me is, you know, it doesn't help. It only adds to the problem. And she reacts just like the most wonderful person ever. I mean, she's the reason why I even want to do better. There's nobody else, you know. Some people love their parents so much that they would do it for them. And they're really lucky, those people. Some people are in love with someone so much that they'll do it for them. That was me once upon a time, maybe like close to 10 years ago, or a little over 10 years ago. Yeah, that was me. I got motivated every day to go to the gym, and I shit you not, it was 10 hours every day. I don't want to sound like I worked out for 10 hours straight. I definitely had breaks, but I was practically living in the gym for the entire 10 hours. So it was wake up, go to the gym all the way to closing, come back and sleep. And it started off that I was doing this because one person didn't want to be with me, and I wanted to be with them because they were great and I wasn't. And I just wanted a change. I mean, thankfully I didn't do it alone. I don't think I would have gotten as far as I would if I would have done it alone. So that was awesome. But right now it's my daughter. And I know what I have to do, and I keep sort of neglecting it. Keep spiraling out of control. Sometimes I wonder if moving over to this country is the problem. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it really is the fucking girlfriend that I can't seem to stop seeing. And problem is, since I don't have a car or income, I mean, being this far away and no car, it's shitty. It's a shitty situation I'm not used to. But I definitely have the time to do, you know, I've just been very distracted. It feels like being on drugs, except I'm not on drugs. So it almost feels worse. Because when you're on drugs, you know that you're fucked up because you're on drugs. But what about when you're not on drugs and you still can't seem to get yourself to do anything? The only thing I can do now, it seems, besides the podcast, is be a good dad when my daughter's present. As soon as she leaves, I become the slacker again. As soon as she's back, everything is orderly. Everything has its place. You know, we'll we'll stick to the routine. The routine is pretty good, you know, eating right, not overly indulging in television, but just a little bit. We read Harry Potter together. Like, she'll read it and then I'll read it to her. We'll read like a page a day. We'll study English, Spanish. I guess we're studying sign language and keyboard typing for no reason, but I think anything, you know, helps to make a person smarter. Guitar, piano. I bought her a bicycle with no training wheels, so we're in the middle of training with that. I did not invite my my girlfriend over this weekend, and I'm so happy that I didn't. She is a nonstop chatterbox to the point where I want to tell her to shut up, but I know that's rude. I mean, of course. I've tried saying it very nicely, you know, that we don't need to voice everything. You know, let's just have some quiet time. So I'm not just shutting her up. It's like I want to be quiet as well. I think we indulge in the fact that we have a hole in our faces that can just make noises nonstop. Because she will literally narrate her life if she has nothing to say. And my father's the same way, and I think it's annoying. But with him, I don't have to engage. Whereas she's different. She is not only a nonstop chatterbox that will never shut the fuck up. She also has the temperament of a child that was never parented right. And she's not young. She's not a child. So it's extra fucking annoying. I understand that tolerance for people is a good skill to have. But I don't know. I have tolerance for people within reason, you know, as much as I think I need to have. Like, if someone in public is being stupid, more than likely I won't say anything. I'll assess the situation. I'll realize this person is too stupid that whatever I say will probably not make a difference, and I'll just quietly leave, right? If I don't have to be there, I'll just leave. And that's what I do. In the outside world, that's what I do. Because why should I confront the other person? Is that really going to improve the situation? Or is that just going to get me in trouble or exacerbate the problem, you know? So I'll leave. What about when you can't leave? Well, then you have to come up with tactics, right? You have to act like it doesn't bother you, even if it does. Of course, that takes energy. So if someone nonstop talks, but you don't want to tell them, hey, shut the fuck up, then you're going to act like it doesn't bother you. And since that's an effort, more than likely, you're not really doing what you want to do. Right? You're still too busy kind of deflecting how much it bothers you that this person isn't shutting up. And for somebody like me with ADHD, I really can't be with somebody like that. Being with somebody like that sort of distracts me from what I want to be doing, because I'm too busy diverting energy into not showing this person how much it bothers me. Something interesting happened. This person, who shall remain nameless, took some penis envy. Yeah, what a fucked up name for mushrooms. Mushrooms, for some odd reason, well, maybe not that odd, have become kind of legal in Mexico. A plaza that's like maybe 10 minutes away from where I live is selling edibles, psychedelic mushroom extract, chocolate, candies, and whatnot, and even mushroom water or some crazy stuff like that. Anyways, she got some penis envy. She took it, and she got all fidgety and felt waves of, I don't know what the hell. I could feel that while she was sitting next to me. I could feel the anxiousness. I didn't take any mushrooms, and I could feel it. I saw a video by Harry B. Joseph, the guy that did the Book of Wisdom, Volume 1 and Volume 2. And he said something incredibly interesting. More than interesting. I mean, I have first experience with what he's talking about, so that's why it was so interesting to me. He said that the pineal gland, which is, that thing that kind of looks like an eye, like an Egyptian eye, which some people consider the third eye. The pineal gland has crystallization all around it, and it can actually glow. Like it can turn on like a light, and that this is where being enlightened comes from. So for most people, this is nothing, right? It won't mean anything. But maybe 2 years ago, I had this strange incident where I was sleeping in the living room, and it was dark all over. I don't like sleeping with any lights on. And it felt like somebody turned on their phone light and pointed it right at me. And that's absolutely how it felt, how it looked. So that when I went to open my eyes, I absolutely expected to see one of my parents standing over me or something. To my surprise, it was pitch black. There was nobody there. Now, this kept happening to me in the upcoming weeks, and I even learned I could control it. I could amplify the brightness. I'm not sure exactly how I was doing it, but soon after it started happening, I realized that the light was coming from me, from inside of me. And that's when I started experimenting with amplifying the light. When I realized that this was happening because of the pineal gland, because it actually has crystallization. Same crystals that are actually used for broadcasting radio signals and therefore receiving radio signals. I thought, damn, maybe I was scratching the surface of enlightenment. And I was very healthy at the time. I worked out a lot. I felt great, felt happy. But I don't think that I was actually scratching the surface of enlightenment. I did something similar to what my girlfriend did last weekend. A friend of mine, a coworker, a shitty coworker. Oh man. He gave me some mushrooms. Very little, like a pinch, not much. And I had never tried that stuff in my life. I remember trying it, and I was reading comic books at the time. I think they were Akira Toriyama's Sandland and Dr. something. Can't remember. Dr. Slump? Whatever. So it was interesting when all of a sudden, you see the water in the atmosphere and things start changing colors a little bit. And then you can't really think very well because it just feels like it's pinging all over the inside of your skull. Your thoughts are just like ping. It feels, when you're on mushrooms, it feels like you're overclocking your machine, like you're making it work at a higher frequency. You can see further. You can sing better. You can feel more holy. I don't mean like sacredly, but I mean whole, like the entire thing at once. Which is maybe why a lot of people have very interesting experiences on that. Anyways, if I'm right about this and you are overclocking your machine, which would explain why parts of you can do things that normally you wouldn't be able to, like making your pineal gland glow. I've heard, but I hadn't experienced, that you can even have some sort of a psychic communication with somebody right next to you or right by you. And I thought that the other person would have to be on mushrooms as well. But what I experienced last weekend assures me that that's not true. The other person doesn't have to be on mushrooms. You can literally be transmitting the feeling to the other person next to you. Now, I haven't done this with someone that I haven't had sex with, so I don't know if maybe because we've been intimate together, that's why she was transmitting that energy to my pineal gland antenna. Yeah, so I don't know. And if anybody knows, please message me, comment, something. I don't want to experiment, and I want to go hang out with people that do mushrooms just to see if if I get any signals transferred. Another reason why maybe I got sick, besides that I had sex to completion, which I'm normally really good about not doing that, but I did, which I kind of feel lowered my defenses, and that's the actual reason why I got sick. I think that we live in a world where there's bacteria, parasites all over the place, but you have to sort of match their frequency in order to let them affect you. And their frequencies are negative. So, if you get negative enough, you'll be sick. You'll be opened to their attack. And I didn't feel negative. I think that can't say that I felt all that positive either. But definitely didn't help that I think an orgasm is there for a purpose, to seed life. If you do it for any other reason, you're doing it wrong, and you might have negative consequences. But you might be like a drug addict, where it just feels too good, and if you become accustomed to it, that's an addiction, because you want to keep doing it. Like, for the longest time, I've heard people say that marijuana is not addicting. So marijuana might not be addicting chemically, but it'll be addicting if you get used to the lifestyle of doing it on a regular basis for whatever reason. So that's an addiction in itself, where you don't feel normal if you don't do it. And obviously, sex and masturbation or having orgasms can be the same thing. You can become addicted to the regularity of the action. I'll never forget that one Ren and Stimpy episode where Ren said that he loves being angry, and that's because that's his go-to emotion. And I think that was the episode of the Happy Happy Joy Joy helmet. So Ren had no option but to be happy, and he's clearly addicted to being upset. And I think that's a real state of being for a lot of people. I mean, it's horrible, but it becomes someone's normal. And they just don't feel right. They don't function right unless they're filtering life through that emotion. Whether it's anger, sadness, or, I don't know, depression. Just pretty much sadness, isn't it? Anyways. I think I gave my daughter one awesome Christmas. Although, I'm sure I'm not alone in this one. I forgot to emphasize that Christmas isn't about, dad buying you presents. It's about celebrating Jesus. Now, I know that there's a bunch, if not all, of the pagan religions that are tied to December 25th, whether it's Mithra or Krishna or I don't know, all of them pretty much, which maybe gives me even more reason to bring up Jesus, the Bible, the good guys pretty much, because there's this group, which is the only group that it's okay to attack. And then there's every other group. The problem is that every other group seems to agree in one way or another, in many ways, with the status quo of the world, which my group, the Bible, says this world is not good. It's not run by the good guys. Don't love this world because it's, the leader of this world is the devil. I didn't count myself as religious or as a person of faith whatsoever. And I was definitely a person that loved the world and all the fun things that could be done and had in it. I subscribed to the faith of the scientific. I believed America was the best. I believed in NASA. Never a straight answer. I believed in the justice system. I believed in a capitalist country. I mean, I'm not a communist. I'm definitely not. I think they're the devil pretty much. I believed in everything that I saw on television, the stars, Hollywood. It just stopped making sense, I started learning a lot about the things that never made sense and why they didn't make sense. I started realizing that Hollywood is just a bunch of Satanists. Whether they themselves realize it or not, they're being led by actual Satanists. And so they're constantly throwing in messages into every project. Whether it's in your face or subtly. Like the movie Saturday Night, about Saturday Night Live's first episode. It's a bunch of bullshit. And in one of the scenes, for no reason, they blaspheme against Jesus. That's supposed to be considered edgy and so I don't know. It's not. It's just pathetic. And then they all claim to be Satan. The movie was dog shit, and it was a fucking lie. Nobody ever said anything about the way Lorne Michaels talks, so I'll say it. If you've ever heard Lorne Michaels speak, you know that he speaks like his mouth is somehow trying to imitate an anus. He can't really open it all the way through. And jokes aside, I wondered what would make him sound that way. Because there is one other man that I've heard speak in a similar fashion. And that's Jacob Rothschild. And look him up. There's videos of him talking on YouTube. And if you hear him speak, it always sounds like he came straight out of the 1800s. Like he's never even gone to a regular school with everyone else. Now, I understand that he's British, and so he's going to sound British. But he doesn't just sound British. He sounds like somebody straight out of the 1800s. How do you do that? Well, that's pretty easy to answer for Jacob Rothschild. He didn't go to school with everybody else. But what about Lorne Michaels? Lorne. That's an interesting name. It's not a common name. Lorne Michaels. Why does he sound like he didn't go to school with everybody else? Like he must have been homeschooled by private tutors his entire life for him to not have picked up on the way anyone else speaks. Why does he sound like he's never watched television until he was already in his 30s and his very private family must have told him, this is what you're going to do now? He doesn't sound like somebody that grew up loving comedy. He sounds like somebody that was just placed, given a position. And I wonder if he didn't grow up with people that had pretty much a similar upbringing, where they're not being mixed with the regular population, so that they never lose their way of sounding. Because that is a pretty strange fucking way to talk, unless I'm right. And his family never mingled with the rest of us. That's pretty much the only way I can see that you're going to sound different. Just like Jacob Rothschild sounds very fucking different. Just like Lorne Michaels. I mean, everyone that meets Lorne Michaels even points out that funny way of talking, which, by the way, was not included into the movie whatsoever. Now, the movie will have you thinking that actually, when he was younger, he sounded like everyone else. Fuck off, movie. That movie's a piece of shit. I loved seeing some of the characters, well, some of the real life people that were portrayed in that movie, because it made me think of them. Like Gilda Radner. I think she was great. Why wasn't Bill Murray there? That was strange. George Carlin. That was interesting, kind of. Who else? Chevy Chase, kind of. Everybody gets kind of a I liked it, kind of. Like Andy Kaufman. You have to already know who Andy Kaufman is to even understand or appreciate any of it. Otherwise, you'll just be like, that guy's weird. I don't think Andy Kaufman was that fucking tall as the actor they got to play him. I mean, I don't think he was short either, but that guy kind of towered over everybody else. Who else? They made George Milton seem like a real piece of shit. Maybe he was. I don't know, but I don't think he went to those extremes of exposing himself. Can't remember much else. It doesn't matter. I took my daughter to go see Sonic 3. Man. I'm not wrong about movies now. They're really just garbage. So Sonic 3 is entertaining. I mean, I guess. It never slows down. So you never really get a grasp on it. While it's completely, it's a stupid movie, so it's not going to go over your head or anything like that. It just doesn't feel, it doesn't breathe. The entire thing is just one giant chorus line. It has no shifting gears. I mean, the entire thing is pedal to the metal. It's dumb. And you might think, well, I mean, it's catering to a younger audience, but go fuck yourself. I don't think that we need to dumb things down for children. I mean, go look at movies when they were a little better. Back in the 80s, for fuck's sake, 70s, 60s, whatever. I think that quality is never rushed. And I'm weirded out by Jim Carrey now that I've been watching Fittest Flat Earther. Flattest. On YouTube, and he has just some incredible videos. Some of them might be reaching, but then I'm seeing the evidence, and it's like, damn, that's a pretty strong smoking gun right there. I think you have to do a lot of research to actually find that the stuff in the Bible is accurate. Of course, even after you do all that research and you go round and round, reading, looking at videos, researching reports, checking the evidence out, you might end up even more confused about everything. But it still feels like the Bible is almost 100% accurate. I can't say what was changed, what was lost in translation, because that's a big one. Depending on the translation you're reading, you might get a completely different definition. So it can be very misleading. Translation can be very misleading. So there's so many different things you need to do to really understand that the Bible is accurate and true. And you have to. It's your due diligence. You gotta cross every T and dot every I. It's the least that you can do to find out what's actually happening. Not only do you have to check the translations, you have to read the stuff that was removed by the Vatican, by the Roman Catholic Church. The Book of Enoch, which talks about the giants. If you read that, you might start looking at mountains a little differently. You might start realizing that there's past cities and civilizations right underneath our feet. And we're not actually on the ground floor. We're on top of the underworld ceiling. What else? You might realize that the 200 fallen, the third of heaven, they're here. They're the leaders of the nations. And man. Well, why not? It's possible that somehow they're tied up into vampirism, and not just energy but blood. They might have their little cult group of is it the Freemasons or is it the Jesuits? Both, probably. Bunch of other ones as well. And maybe, I don't know. I don't know. So you got the reptiloids, you got the fallen, you got vampires. They're all tied up with parasites. and it sounds crazy when you hear it all like that all at once, But that's the reality we live in. Especially when you have to also take into consideration all the things that we learned in school that were faith-based. Basically, nothing was ever proven to us. We were just told that they were proven to someone else, and therefore that's proof for the rest of us. And we bought it. It's like, oh, moon landing, okay. Oh, the earth isn't flat, okay. I remember as a kid, I'd be watching a movie feeling like I'm learning. Now I know. And they already knew that that's what we would all be feeling. We would be watching a fake movie, understanding that it's fake, but believing that what it's saying is portraying facts. And every once in a while, we would realize that even movies that say based on a true story might be completely different from what actually happened. I think that most of us just wanted to believe that this is a single incident, a single event. It's not connected to anything. Definitely not a giant conspiracy. So for me, I'm a believer, and I'm a believer in a bunch of other things I'm not going to bring up because they're harder to get across without supplying a lot of information which would not even be beneficial to do so, since most people would just label things as being hateful as an easy method of shutting down the sharing of information. I've seen it done, and I've seen how stupid people are, including myself. In the past, if I may have been one of those gatekeepers that just doesn't want to believe because he likes the lie too much. He doesn't see how detrimental it is. And those are most people, you know. They got sold on the lie that they refuse to give the truth a chance. I was watching a video, I think a week ago, by Liberty Hangouts. She was interviewing a Democrat, a liberal Democrat, aren't they all? on abortion rights, and how they were even trying to legalize abortion after birth. The guy said, no, that'll never happen. And she said, actually, Kamala's running mate was legalizing something to get botched abortions approved for abortions after birth. So botched abortions would be the fetus didn't die. That type of shit just makes me angry. But anyways, the guy did the only thing he could do. He didn't say a fucking word. He literally ran away. He just ran away. Yeah, man, I think that's indicative of people that don't want to listen to the truth because it goes against their worldview. So in his worldview, women should have the right to just murder babies, which is what a fetus is. Like, even the word fetus means baby. Fucking idiots. Because somebody painted it in a view that says, who cares that she's fucking around and got pregnant? If she doesn't want it, she should have the right to just kill it. Except, I think it is Baal worship, right? And sacrificing babies. That's the real reason why abortion is even a discussion. I think that if you don't want to have children, take precautions or don't have sex. That's it. What's the alternative? You get pregnant, but you have the right to murder it? It's not your life anymore. So I don't support abortion. And thankfully, I'm not a famous person, so I get to say this shit. Fuck. Oh, I'm so fucking canceled. Well, okay, so this is probably one of the episodes that I'll be removing if I ever want to do anything with my life. Hopefully I don't. So I can just be honest at all times. God. Fuck it, man. I'm sorry. I have to fucking say the way I feel. Yeah, it is a little scary, to be honest. To be honest. Nowadays, the standard government in America wants you to believe that promiscuous behavior is okay. As long as nobody's complaining, I guess. As long as it's only a man that's complaining. Be promiscuous, have abortions. It's all about money. And that's it, right? If you're making money and you're promiscuous and having abortions, then hell world, I mean America, thinks you're awesome and you'll have a good time, because that's what this life is about, according to America. It's about having fun and feeling good and eating tasty things and doing fun, pleasurable things. That's it. So, completely the opposite of the Bible, right? The Bible says that this place isn't forever. We're not in the time of tribulation. They're faking it. We're in the little season. So, we might be closer to the end, I guess. But it won't be the end forever. I've thought about what would the end be like, especially for people that aren't dead, you know. And I think that would be, I think it'd be pretty cool, actually. I don't think that it would be like the stupid shit that I used to imagine when I was younger and rebellious and pretty much a Satanist. But I was never an acknowledged Satanist. Like, I was a Satanist without knowing it. I was never like, yes, I worship this. No. In fact, I was so rebellious I didn't worship anything. Which obviously doesn't matter. If you're a Christian, or you're a Satanist, or you're in the middle, two of those are pretty much the same thing. And I say pretty much because, I mean, I think it's possible to just be a good person and be in the middle. But, it's not as likely, because if you're in the middle, a good person, but you don't know that some things are just not okay, you might be contributing to something that's satanic in nature. So, on one extreme, the satanic side, they act like they're very loving because they don't see a problem with anything. including things that are very, very bad. And then you go to the other extreme, Christianity, and they will tell you there is a difference. These things are okay, these things are not. Sometimes the explanation for why they're not okay isn't sufficient the way we are given it. And that is very odd, because you can find the reasons, the very big, very obvious reasons. And it's not just because nature, no, it's because parasites. It's because demon possession. Parasites are fucking demon possession. Which is why I think that if you're a real Christian, you have to study, you have to look it up, you have to dig a little deeper. And if you're not a Christian, like I wasn't, the more you dig, just because, I don't know, you want to know, the more you're going to find that this stuff is real. People in charge today are not the good guys, and they are hiding, they're hiding God. For the longest time, I didn't like saying God, because there's something I read or heard, I don't know, but I strongly felt like it's possible. But now I feel like that could also be a lie. So I heard that Baal's name, his full name was Lord Baal Gad, pronounced God. Lord Baal God. And so whenever we say God or Lord, we're actually just invoking Baal. And I don't know if that's true, but it does sound possible, right? So I don't know what's God's name. So I usually say the good God or the good creator, because I'm not sure if when I say God, I'm not just invoking something else that I'm not trying to. In the Gnostic Bible, the good God's name is Monad. And the bad God's name is Yaldabaoth, the Demiurge, or Jehovah. So there is something to it. So it's possible. So the fittest flat earther, he pointed out that Dave Weiss, Flat Earth Dave, might be a shill, might be a con man, Freemason con artist. I don't know. Sure, it's possible. I've seen how he moves his hands with the 3 6s all the time with the OK. I do that. Yeah. Sometimes, not a lot. But I'm definitely not doing that on purpose. I'm not trying to throw 6s. But he said something that caught me, because it's something that I've felt now for years. The fittest flat earthers said, there's layers and layers of truth. And that's absolutely right. That's how I've felt now for years. Like every time I think I get it, I find out new information. And I kind of I felt now for years that this is the information that's laid out for people that didn't believe in the standard information, in the status quo. They dug a little deeper, and this is what they find. And there's always more layers the more you dig. And it does feel that the closest thing to the truth is that you got a group of bad guys and a group of good guys, and I think the good guys are us. So, in Revelations at the end, it says that the Sky Island is going to come down. So they're up there. It's going to come down, and there will be no more sun. But we won't need it because the light is going to come from Jesus. I strongly feel that Jesus, whatever his real name was, and hell, jeez. I need to get rid of those shitty habits. Yeah, I'm one of those people that says, hell, heck. What can I change that with? Darn. Ugh. I'm sorry, please forgive me. Anyways, I've always felt that Jesus, and maybe that really was his name, and it's part of the whole gimmicky layers and layers of information to throw you off. But anyways, I've always felt that he had to have been a giant, right? Last civilization before us was not exactly the giants, but they were what we would consider giants. They just weren't the size of mountains, but they were like maybe double our size. Okay. I have no idea what size he might have been. He might have not just been, double our size. He might have been a lot bigger. A lot bigger. I have no idea. But in Revelations, it says that you won't have a sun anymore, but you won't need one because Jesus will be the sun. And from what I said earlier, your pineal gland can glow. It has crystallization that can work as a transmitter of information and energy. If the sun is coming from Jesus, that's his pineal gland, then he must be real big. I think that would be amazing. And you know what? He might already be the sun. So we're not allowed to go into the North Pole area. And that's that's where the Aurora Borealis comes from, right? The green lights. So there might be a hole in the North Pole. And that's where the light's shining from and hitting the firmament. And creating the plasma hologram of the sun and the moon. It might be Jesus. Because otherwise, why would the sun disappear? Unless it is him. I wouldn't have thought of any of this if I hadn't have had that firsthand experience with it. I would love that. I think that when I was younger, I used to think that heaven was just nonstop worshiping God and singing hymns and working. But now that I'm older, I don't think that it would be a bad thing at all. I think that if you are working, then you're going to be doing something worth doing. You're not going to be a fucking slave in an office. That would be stupid. I think that's more of the satanic thing, which of course, Satanism is all about lies. So of course you're led to believe that in hell it's nonstop partying. It's just drugs and sex and just partying. Nah. I think it's more meaningful than that. Who knows what heaven would be like, but I think it might be something like life, but enjoyed with family. I think you can still age. You just wouldn't die. So the little ones would grow up, be somebody's grandfather, and they would grow up, and you could move on and do something else useful. At least I'd like to think that's what it's like. Maybe some of my writing I haven't gotten on to do it because maybe I want to write something a little more meaningful and not just entertaining. I think maybe that might be the missing key ingredient that would motivate me to publish these things. Because most of the stuff that I was working on is just for entertainment. It's just for consideration. It's just something of a interesting new take on an idea. I don't know. I mean, some of it might be inspiration, but maybe not in the right direction, or not enough going in the right direction. Yeah. It's hard. It's definitely hard to find out all these things later on in life. I think my daughter is really, really lucky to find this stuff out at a young age. I mean, obviously, you might be thinking, it won't help her in the real world. They're just going to think she's crazy. Well, she knows that. I just think that when something crazy happens, like COVID, for example, and we're all told, hey, inject this shit into yourself, it'll help you. And nobody thinks logically to themselves, like, how the fuck do they know that? Doesn't it take like a really long time of testing shit to find out that there's no side effects? Oh, man. I can't believe anybody fucking said, like, yes, inject that shit into me. I mean, they never took into consideration who it's coming from. What might be in it? Oh, boy, I feel sorry for all those people that may have suffered because of that shit. So, something like that, maybe my daughter might think, like, I don't trust these people. I'm not going to take that. If for no other reason, then I did my job right for that. one final closing thought. I know when I say God, I know what I mean. You know, the God of the good guys. And Jesus. Maybe I should just say Jesus, you know? Except, man. Things mean something, you know? They can mean something good, they can mean something bad. What does Jesus mean? Is it French for I am? Because it sounds pretty close to it. Je suis, you know? That's the hard part. When you're a little too smart for your own friggin' good. I don't think Jesus was his name, but I know who I'm referring to. It's kind of hard because I do believe in the Bible. I just think that it's been messed with. I'm not sure that the New Testament is the New Testament and not the Old Testament. I'm not sure that the Old Testament is the Old Testament and not the new one or the next one. So it's kind of hard to talk to Christians, even though I want to. If you know that there is good and that things aren't being done the right way, stay strong, I guess. There's really nothing on television anymore. It's just garbage. Even the stuff that might seem a little good, it's laced with bad stuff. Bad programming, bad ideas. You don't want to share that with your kids. I'm glad I took my daughter to see Sonic 3 because I was able to explain what's programming. What kind of ideas in that movie are actually negative? Why is it that the husband acted like he was kind of dumb and goofy, but the wife was like, you know, all serious, all very brave and strong? And while there's nothing wrong with that, it just goes along with the standard programming that women are smart and men are dumb. That's a lie. That is an absolute lie. I'm not going to say it's the other way around, but I will say that not everyone's the same. You can't describe a race by one person's actions, or even many. And you can't describe a gender by that either. So it's hard for me to say God, because at first I thought that, you know, even if it is someone else's actual name, I know what I mean. But if this life is all about vibration and frequencies, you might just be invoking something bad. I think the actual real good creator, or the actual real leader, hopefully that's not another name, I think they would know better. I think they wouldn't judge us too badly. Because information is hidden. And I know they know that. Maybe there's different rewards for the people that can discover this stuff on their own, not just be led to it. Maybe just follow your heart. Maybe just kind of open up your eyes and realize that this world is run by bad guys and they're not going to tell you anything truthfully. If they give you anything, it's going to be laced with some misleading information. I don't know if Dave Weiss, Flat Earth Dave, is a bad guy, if he's a Freemason or not. I don't know. Yeah, it made him look guilty, when he lost his cool in that text message to Fittest Flat Earther. Just like Buzz Aldrin punching a guy for asking him to swear on a Bible that you went to the moon. It looks guilty as fuck. I think a lot of people are waking up to the world not being what we were told it is. And we all just have to think positive. Don't let the shit get to you. Because you'll make yourself sick. I might be proof of that. Just be good. Don't go out of your way to try to conquer this world, because like Fiona Apple once said, this world is bullshit. Alright, I think I'll leave it at that. I hope you all had a Merry Christmas. And I hope you'll have a Happy New Year. 2025 is certainly going to be something different. I don't know, I have a feeling. I really hope it's not the year that we get the what was that called? Project Blue Light or Blue Beam, where we get the alien invasion. That would be shitty. That would be so shitty. We should talk about that next podcast. Yeah, because that's a big one. There's a couple of people that might survive that, right? People that don't need stores. You don't need a store because you already grow your own food. And you can protect yourself from potential demons pretending to be aliens or looters. Because you got guns. So those are the ones that'll survive. You grow your own food and you got guns. You might have a well, or you know how to find water and clean it. Yeah, they're surviving. I'm not a meat eater, but and I do count fish as meat. Yeah, if you're a hunter or you live near a fishing place, I mean, yeah, you're gonna do all right. Now you just have to worry about the other people. Because the fake alien invasion might be demons in disguise. The word demon just means negative emotion, right? So what they really are is I don't know if they're the fallen or if they're spawn of the fallen, but they can shapeshift, and there might be like vampires as well, where they can age and de-age depending on how much blood they take in. Wild stuff to think about, but you'll be all right if you're not afraid. As long as you're not afraid, and you shouldn't be. I'm pretty sure that if you shoot them with a gun, that's all she wrote for them. So instead, if we got time, let's work on figuring out all the other stuff we need besides guns. You need to know how to keep them working. You need to know how to fish, how to gut fish. Basically all the stuff you would learn in Boy Scouts. You need that. That might be a good book to learn. I mean, to read and learn. All right. But let's hope it's not that year yet. Some of us are not that lucky to have areas to grow anything. I wonder how much space. How would you need an acre or more to grow enough food for yourself and your family? And then you'd probably need to go fishing. You know, it would be a real problem, I think. Going to the bathroom, going to the restroom. Guys can pee wherever they want, and women pretty much can as well. It's just, you gotta squat. But what do you do about cleaning yourself? So, yeah, somebody's got to learn how to make toilet paper. A shower soap. I think you get soap from I think the thing is called a yucca plant. Can make soap out of that, the root. I think I saw that in a Naked and Afraid. But how do you make toilet paper? I mean, without a giant ass machine. You might have to cut down some trees for that one. Man. Complicated stuff you need to know to be ready for the apocalypse. And it's not the apocalypse, is it? It's a fake invasion to make people think that we're at the times of tribulation, and therefore a fake Jesus can come. Yeah. Oh boy. Well, let's get ready. What else can we do? I hope everybody's the best. And if you think I'm crazy, boy, I wish I was. I wish I was. At length, I can show you everything that leads me to believe these things. And the only thing I could say for it being wrong is that it could be one of those planted layers of information that's actually just total misinformation. And I wouldn't mind if that's what it was. I'd like that, actually. I wouldn't care if I was wrong. Like, oh, he made a fool of himself and he was completely wrong. But everything points at it being right. So unless I find another layer, I mean, that's what it is. So let's hope I'm wrong, but just in case, learn all that survival shit. Trust me, you won't be worse off for knowing. You'll be better off. All right then. Talk to you later. Have a good one. Good night.